Welcome to Locales Unknown. This podcast gives you the tools you need to choose your next travel destination and the tips you want to be able to explore like a local. Here are your hosts, Chris and Winfield.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Locales Unknown. Today, we have a real treat in store for you. We have Eric Sabi here from the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism. He has an absolutely fascinating background story. He's got so many interesting ventures as well in the works for the new year ahead. So welcome to the show, Eric. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks, Winnie.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris, for the invitation.
Please give us a little bit of background about how you got into this line of work and how you started working with tourism in general.
Well, thank you so much, Winnie. As you said, my name is Eric Sabi Chenjiyumva. That might be hard to pronounce, but it's very okay. So I'm from Rwanda, as you said, and I've been in tourism since 2012. I'm going back in the background, and I started tourism from my secondary schools up to university. That's how I found myself in tourism. But it was something from far when I was still a kid. I loved traveling during vacation. I loved visiting some new places. I was a man of curiosity, and as I grow, I found that how I'm passionate about tourism. The fact of that is, I was raised in a touristic area in Rwanda nearby the Volcanoes National Park. So, from my childhood, I used to see tourists going to volcanoes to see gorillas. I was like, wow, one day I need to drive that car. I need to be with them one day. So that's how I grew up with that passion in tourism. Since then, since 2012, I've worked with several companies from the community tourism initiatives, tour companies, hotels, and now I'm with the Rwanda Chamber of Tourism, and I have more coming. So that's background. I don't know if it is satisfying, but here to answer any question.
Yeah, it's a cool origin story, man. So having that exposure right next to these areas that bring in the tourism within Rwanda definitely gives that inspiration growing up. How do you go about entering into the space? Because obviously you're not going to go from zero to driving the cars, leading the gorilla safaris. So can you tell us a little bit about how you entered into tourism and then how you rose in levels to finally get to where you are?
Well, thank you very much. I remember that was 2012. That's when I first got into the field. I was doing internship in one of the best leading community tourism initiatives. So I went there for internship of 3 months, and then after my high school, I went back and asked them, "Can I please come?" So they said, "You're free to come," and I went there as well. I worked for 2 months, and then after 2 months, they hired me as the reservation manager, as also the guide at the community center, and I worked there for like 1 year before I joined the university. Then, as I was at the university as well, during vacation, I used to go for internship. So I could say how I entered was from internship, and then gaining that experience. So the little experience, and then from there, that's from those internships, I went back to Rwanda Chamber of Tourism as intern as well. After my university, I worked there for almost 1 year, and then I left. I joined a hotel. I worked there for 6 months, and then again into tour company. They called me. I joined them as well. So by the time I heard that at the Chamber of Tourism they had vacant, I applied. Because I knew the system. I've been there for almost 1 year, with internship. Then that's how I entered into that space.
And all the while working on your English, because you sound perfect, Eric. We could be having this conversation sitting anywhere in the U.S. So I assume you learned it in university or as you were growing up.
Yeah, being lived nearby the volcanoes, and I loved interacting with the internationals. That's how I used to practice, meeting them, practice the practice the English. That's how maybe I became like this.
That's awesome.
English is an official language in Rwanda, isn't it? Isn't that one
Yeah,
of the?
sure.
Mhm. Do most people learn English growing up in school, or does it depend on your career path?
Well, most of them, they learn English at school, and but depending on your career, because some careers are not required, are not requesting to be fluent in English or to practice it every day, but areas like tourism, like hospitality, like those they require you, to be fluent because most of tourists they are foreigners, and most of them they speak English and French. So you see that most people who are in the industry where they require meeting with mainly foreigners, they are the ones who focuses on English. But generally, we learn English from primary school up to university.
Before we hit record, I said this is going to be a great episode because I don't know anything about Rwanda. I'll admit that. So the fact that you just corrected me on that, most people know English and it's an official language is, I mean, that's surprising to me. But I do have to ask, you said you're living by the volcanoes and the gorilla sanctuaries, and you hear English. So where predominantly are tourists coming from to Rwanda?
Well, as of the report from 2019 from the Rwanda Tourism Board, the most tourists we get are from the US. That's the we get the big number from the US and also Germany and also Belgium and also Australia, France, UK. We've got also from African countries like Kenya, like South Africa, Nigeria. Those are the most countries where we get tourists from.
Nice.
So, what would you say for people that don't kind of what Chris just said, people who don't know much or anything about Rwanda? Obviously, Rwanda, unfortunately, the headlines of 1994, 1995, we're not going to go into that because we don't do politics, but it was in the headlines for all of the wrong reasons because of that conflict. How would you describe Rwanda in 2021? How far has the country come? Because you've really made some amazing strides as a nation.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. I mean, if you see Rwanda in the 28 years or 27 years from now, it was a mess. After the genocide again, the Tutsi, the whole country was a mess. So from there, after the genocide, that's how the leadership started rebuilding the nation. So they built the nation from zero up to where we are now. And as we are talking, Rwanda is one of the safest country, not only in Africa but in the world. The economy is growing faster. We also the tourism also is booming as one of the key sectors we have. Being that we have the mountain gorillas, which excites more people to come and see. Not only that, but also we are. Rwanda is also a hub for for conferences, for MICE. We've been performing well since the last decade, and with the reports, we've been like in 2019, we were the second African countries which hosted many meetings, many conferences and meetings. So you see that from those strategies in the 90s to where we are now, Rwanda has done a lot, has improved. If you see like the reports, Kigali is the one of the safest and the cleanest city in Africa, and there was more of government efforts, but also the private sector have contributed a lot in terms of partnering with the government, investing more in in tourism, in commerce, in industries. So I can say we are doing good, and we've improved so far. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And I think that, of course, as I'm going to say with a caveat, we don't do politics here, but I will say that President Kagame and his slew of reforms, regardless of where you stand ideologically, for instance, banning all plastic bags in the country, that is a world leading reform amongst others, as you mentioned. Kigali now in the top rankings as a startup capital in Africa, a meeting hub, as you said. Addis as well in Ethiopia was in a similar situation, but of course now unfortunately the security situation there is deteriorated a lot. So I think Rwanda, being its size, it's a relatively small country, but it has
That's right,
infinite
and landlocked
potential.
as well.
I'm sorry. Yeah, landlocked. Exactly. Right.
Yes, yeah.
But
and the one thing I forgot to mention is we are hosting also the Kigali International Finance area. So we are also targeting to be the financial hub in East Africa, and we're doing much. And also, I forgot to tell you that by the report of World Bank, we were among the top countries in the world to facilitate business, where
Wow.
it's a good environment for investing in. So I can also say that that thing helped us a lot, to attract many investors, specifically the international ones. Like we have the Volkswagen here. They have the branch in Africa, in Rwanda, and we have many more who are coming. I can say also that facilitating international businesses and regional businesses to invest in Rwanda was amazing. And as well, I forgot to mention that also regarding the environmental friendly, we are ahead of many African countries. Like as of now, we've initiated the electric cars. We have them in Rwanda, and also electric motorcycles, because here we use motorcycles in public transport. So you've seen that since 2019, the government have put a lot of effort, and we are seeing more people are buying like those electric bicycle, electric cars, and it's a good thing in terms of also the conserving the environment and fighting the climate change.
Lots of changes, yes. And it seems like it's almost perfect timing. I hate to say that just based off what happened, but you're a young man like us going up in your career in tourism. And now that you're on the other side of such a tragic and devastating event, more tourism is coming. I have to imagine over the last 20 years, being in your career as well, you've seen so much more infrastructure come for tourism, so much more attractions for tourists to see. Can you talk to us a little bit about that progression from after everything that happened in the 90s to today? What would we get into when we enter into Rwanda as travelers?
Well, thank you so much. Interestingly, so I was born right after the genocide, so I don't know much about that period, but I've heard that's the history, and by then tourism was a dream in Rwanda. I mean, it was not there. Like the national parks were nothing. So from there there was like a progress from starting starting have the bigger plan of say we can do tourism here, starting from the conserving the mountain gorillas. By the time after the genocide, the mountain gorillas were critically endangered. So from there, we established the conservation efforts from international and also communities near the national parks. They put much effort, in making sure that the natural resources, the national parks are well conserved. And from that conservation, we've done a lot in terms of marketing the tourism, on the international scale, and also with that easy environment for doing business. We've attracted so many international and big chain of hotels like Marriott to have them here. We have like Singita, they have so many lodges in most high-end African tourism countries. We have also like Serenite African brand, which is bigger. We have one and only. We have like Mantis. So with that easy business doing environment, we have attracted like so many international hotels, and from there also we've put a much effort in marketing, as I've said. I know you've seen about the partnership with Arsenal and partnership with PSG. So those kind of marketing campaigns have contributed a lot in terms of promoting the country, in terms of attracting so many tourists. And yeah, I can say so. And also, as I've said, the effort from the private sector, because they are the ones, the government do marketing, but also private sector are the ones who bring, tourists. So I can say that collaboration between governments, local and national investors and the international investors have made us to get this
Oh, exactly. And I think it's interesting that you mentioned that public and private partnership, because that's so key in any scenario, especially with tourism, because you can have one, but you have to have the other. They work hand in hand,
far. Sure.
right? And something you mentioned earlier was interesting to me as well. You mentioned security and how the security situation is stable, and Rwanda is a safe country, and people should know that. How the region is turbulent, as you mentioned. Rwanda is landlocked, borders with Uganda, borders Eastern Congo, which is one of the most unstable parts of the world at the moment. How should tourists take any precautions when they're visiting certain parts of the country, or should they be more aware of their surroundings, or is the entire country safe and able to be accessed relatively easily?
Well, the entire country is safe, and as I've said, the main product we have is gorillas, and that's where we shut the volcanoes, where is shut by the three countries. So, and that's the most attraction we have. That's the most product we have, and I can say very safe. We've never had any complaint or any case where tourists were harmed or were faced any security issues. So I can say, we are totally safe.
That's great, and that's exactly what we want to hear. So
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, walking into this podcast, we definitely wanted to shed some light on modern day Rwanda, because like Winfield was saying, anytime you look up the country, it's usually not portrayed in the best of light. So when you were saying earlier, Eric, that the majority of your tourists beyond coming from the European area are also American, I was a little surprised at that, because I don't think I've met someone over here within the States that has actually been to Rwanda. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, personally, I don't know, maybe I'm just not talking to the right people, but it was a little surprising at first, but it's also, very enlightening. And I'm happy the fact that Americans are actually making their way there. I know it's a long journey. Africa, the entire continent, is a bit exotic for us over here, and people do have their trepidations when they're worried about security or history. So the fact that you said it's safe is awesome. Now, my question is, when people come over, is this usually an organized tour group or something where you have a bus and everyone's together all the time? Or can someone like Winfield and I, who usually just land and wander around and make our way, is that a possibility within Rwanda as well for both?
Well, most of tourists, they come in organized tours. I mean, they go through the tour operators, they organize their tours. But we see also some people who come at their own. I mean, they just have their maps, they come, they land, because the country is safe. They come, they hire the cars, they go to to the national parks, they book themselves the permits, the hotels. But the bigger number of people who comes here are the ones who are in the organized tours through DMCs or the international agents who works with the DMCs here. But that possibility is there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a relatively small country. So renting a car, and dedicating maybe a month. I don't know much about the visa situation. Maybe you do, Winfield, as far as visa on entry for Rwanda, or if it's something applied for before, or how long it is. Maybe you can shed some light on that, Eric. But, I would imagine, just based off of the size of the country, I can land, I can rent a car, and then wander my way around. it's good to know that you said that that's a possibility.
Yeah, sure. That's a possibility. And regarding the visa, like everyone can get the visa on arrival. So it is as easy, as you don't need to apply before, like wait for some days. You can just get your visa at the airport. So it is, all these initiatives, are to keep the awareness, because we know there are people who knows Rwanda, there are people who knows where we are now, but there are still a lot of people who still don't know about Rwanda. As you said, you didn't know that the bigger number of tourists we get are from the US, and like as of now, you're knowing it, you know it, and people who listen to this podcast, who know that. So it's a long journey, and the marketing and the awareness should always keep on. And the more we get people knowing much about the country, the more we get tourists who comes here.
Yeah, it's a good point because a lot of it does boil down to marketing. There's only so much time and space that, so many countries and companies are competing to get in front of people. So I can't say personally that I've seen a lot of adverts or advertisements for Rwanda, but this is sounding better and better. The fact that I can land, I get my visa on arrival, I can take my car, it's safe. And we haven't even covered the beauty of the national parks or the gorilla safaris or anything. And I'm excited to dig in because we're talking to the guy that would know most about that. So if I'm entering Rwanda, first off, I'm coming from the US and that's forever away. It's a long journey just to get there. Based off your experience, how long would you recommend I stay in the country and maybe just an itinerary of what to do while I'm there?
Well, the country, we always look for possibilities to diversification of products, and the minimum I can recommend myself to any tourist are more than 7 days.
Okay.
7 days, but we have people who even spend like 24 days here and doing discovering the country, doing different activities. And the 7 days or 10 days, that's the minimum I can recommend someone to do. And among maybe the activities I can recommend, I think that was the next question. Most people we get, of course they do gorillas. Apart from the gorillas, we have the golden monkeys as well. We have hiking for people who love adventure, like within the Volcanoes National Park. So I'm going park by park or destination by destination.
Yeah.
But before maybe we head to volcanoes, like when people land here in Kigali, the first thing they do is they visit the Genocide Memorial, to learn more about, the country, how we overcame the strategy, and how we've built the nation. So they visit the Genocide Memorial, and maybe after that, they also do like the Kigali City tour, where they meet with locals, they learn more about the country, they learn more about the locals. So that way is a good understanding. They give tourists a good understanding at the first place. To learn more about the country, to understand more about the country, and to show him what he should expect in the remaining days. And after that, that's how they proceed to Volcanoes National Park, where most of them they do mountain gorillas. They also do like the golden monkey. Those who are willing also they do the hiking, because we have the 5 volcanoes, and most of them people can pay to hike them, because they are very nice volcanoes. Like the Karisimbi, that's the highest we have. They hike it for 2 days. It's a very nice adventure. I've done it myself.
Wow.
It's a very good one. Yeah, so we have the other one called Bisoke, which has like the crater lake on the top of it. So amazing experience. I've done it myself as well. We have the Sabi, we have Muhabura, all those 5 volcanoes. If adventure lovers, they could love that. And from there, from the mountain gorillas, also they visit the community tourism initiatives nearby the Volcanoes National Park, to understand, the efforts government and private sector have put into, the local communities, because you find most of them, they used to be poachers. And if you visit them, you get to understand them. You get to understand how conservation, how tourism has played a big role in their lives. From being the poachers to now being the guardians, of the mountain gorillas and other biodiversity. And that's also, it's a must. I mean, if you want to get to understand Rwanda, you also need to to consider that visiting the communities and understand them. From there, we have in the same city, Musanze, the volcanoes. We also have like canoeing in the river called Mukungwa. It's a very nice adventure activity.
Wow.
I've done it myself, so it's a very nice experience. From there, most people they proceed to the Lake Kivu, going. It's in the western, for kayaking for those who love kayaking, and within that area also we have what we call the Kanganai Trail. Most people, those who that's for the adventure lovers. They can do it either by hiking or biking. So for biking, they do it like 7 days. It's a long. It has like 227 kilometers from the north of the western province to the south. So it's like the belt of the Lake Kivu. So most people they do it on bike or hiking. So some decide to do it like 2 days or 1 day or 5 days, 3 days. That depends on the personal fitness and and plans. But that also is a very good experience. I mean, because you get on the way, you get to interact with people, you get to interact with locals like the farmers of tea, coffee. Get to understand where there's one experience they called from crop to cup. So you get to understand like how they farm coffee from the farm, up to the cup, and you taste it yourself. So it's a very nice experience for coffee lovers. And within that southern of the eastern of the western province, we have the Nyungwe National Park, where we have like the chimpanzee and other 13 species of primates. From there also we have like the waterfalls, beautiful hikes of the waterfalls. I mean, if someone needs to connect with nature, I totally recommend that. We also have the canopy walk bridge. It is actually it is we only have three in Africa, and in East Africa we only have this in Rwanda. So we have one in Rwanda, which is in Nyungwe. So it's also a very nice adventure, and from there also people can come back to Kigali, and through coming to Kigali, they also pass where we call like the heritage corridor. The heritage corridor, that's where we have like most of historical sites, like where the king used to live, like their palaces. I mean the king's palace, have that museum there. So like you learn more about like in that heritage corridor, that's when you learn more about the history, you learn more about the pre-colonial lifestyle of Rwandans, and from there also you come to Kigali, and from Kigali you head to the Akira National Park. That's the savannah park, the only savannah park we have in Rwanda, and lucky enough we have the big five of Africa in that park, which they used to like before the genocides, because of the because people were coming back, the refugees were coming back to Rwanda. So the park was divided into two. The first part they give it to to local people who were coming back to Rwanda, and because of that conflict which was there, the big five was lost. I mean, we had no lions, we had no rhinos, but since 2010, that's when the African parks had a partnership with Rwanda, so to manage the park. So since 2010, they've introduced the lions as well, and also the rhinoceros. So we have the full big five. So also within that savannah park, I mean, most people do there like 3 days, 4 days, if they want to really experience the lifestyle in the jungle. And from there, they come back to Kigali, and then they go back home. I mean, those are the activities people can do in those whatever days, depending on the days. The more you extend days, the more you enjoy, and you discover more.
Eric, you're speaking to us right now, man. adventure, nature, coffee, a little bit of history. This is just amazing. Culture as well. You know, backing it up to when you just got started explaining this itinerary, I love the fact that they start on the cultural side of things. Go to the museum, learn a little bit about the history, understand the land that you're actually walking on, because everything that you described, you could take it out of Rwanda and put it somewhere else, and it might be just as beautiful, but because you have that cultural element to it and the history that is Rwanda, to me, at least, just envisioning this trip when I do go eventually, it gives an entirely different lens to everything. You know, it's been through so much in order to get to this point and then have this preservation. You have a new respect for it. But I don't know if we could get through all of that in 7 days, man, even 10 days or 24, but it sounds like a whirlwind trip. And I know Winfield, you love those.
That I do, yes. And I had a couple questions along the way because I was already going through the itinerary in my head in terms of logistics. So,
Sure.
In volcanoes, I'm assuming that some of these volcanoes are still active. And when you said, can you camp on the side of the volcano, or do you have lodges? How does that work in terms of facilities?
Well, actually, the volcanoes we have on the Rwandan side, they are not active. The one which are active are the two which are in the Congo side, like the Nyiragongo and the Nyamaraja, even the one which erupted last year, I think. So it is safe to camp. Like when you do the Karisimbi, the highest volcano, you camp in the forest. A very nice experience. I've done that myself. So it was, breathtaking. It's sleeping in the middle of the forest. It was amazing. And we have lodges nearby the volcanoes. We have high-end lodges like One and Only, Singita, Wilderness Safaris. Like those are the big high-end lodges. Also, we have like the mid-range also lodges. And they camp. So anyone can if they're high end, they can find their range. If they're mid range, also they can find their places. We all have that.
That's great. There's something for every budget, and that everybody can find a place that they're comfortable with.
Sure.
And I know this this bike trek that you mentioned. What was it? 227 Ks. Chris is salivating at that. I know I am too.
As long as our bike chain doesn't break, right?
We just did we just got back from an Amazon trip in Brazil where my bike chain broke right at the worst time. Stay tuned for that episode.
Wow, but I believe you made it to the top. I mean, to the end of the trip. Huh?
Yes, I did.
One way or another.
Right.
Okay.
But no, that sounds amazing, and just kind of, as you said, meeting people and doing things along the way. So is that typically from Kigali going southwest, or is that from Lake Kivu going the other way, or can you go either way? Does it matter?
You can go either way, but most people they love if they're doing if they're doing like all the national parks. We have 4, but the 3 were were the oldest one, but we have the recent one, which is Gishwati-Mukura. And within that park, it's a tropical rainforest as well, where we have their chimps and also other birds. So if they're doing all the national parks, most of the time they start with the east in the Savannah Park, and then from there they come to volcanoes. From volcanoes is in the north, and then from the north they head to the western of the country, to western, to the southwestern, and then they come back to Kigali.
Okay, now I've got
it. Sometimes they start from Kigali from Kigali to the Heritage Corridor. Mm-hmm. Then from Heritage Corridor they head to the southern and western province, where we have like the Nyungwe National Park. And then from Nyungwe they head also to the northern western of the country, like Lake Kivu, and where in that the belt of the Kivu. And then from there they come to the north, and then from north they come back to Kigali. So you can plan it either way.
Mm-hmm.
So and can you shed some light? Oh, sorry, Winfield, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in terms of what people should pack for hiking, Do they need to bring warm clothes? Is there snow on these volcanoes or on these peaks typically? Or what kind of preparation do travelers need to make?
Well, it is not, when compared to to weather in your countries or in the US or the European countries. Our climate, our weather is not that cold. It is moderate. In the volcanoes side, to us it is a bit cold. But I see most people from the European or the US, they just bring the normal clothes. I mean, they like the rain jackets, the pant, the hiking boots. You don't need much. It is not cold as in the other parts of the country. It is moderate. Sometimes it can get to like the area where it is so much cold. It is that Karisim, the highest volcano, and by the time we hiked it, it was we get up to 4 degrees Celsius. That was during night, but during the day it's like 11 up to 16. It is not that cold.
It's still comfortable.
Yeah,
It's not
so
bad.
yeah, comfortable. Yes.
How about time of year? Usually there's a off season, a high season, a shoulder season. Is there a particular time of year that we should plan to go to Rwanda, whether it be, I don't know, during peak season or maybe to avoid the crowds? What would be both?
Well, normally we have the high season from end of May up to end of September, so that's the high season. But all year round we get tourists. Maybe it is because during that during from end May up to September. Maybe that's when even most people in the European US go their vacation for summer. Maybe that's why we get most of them coming. But even in December we get some traffic. Even like from end May to September, we have a lot of people, and from the second week of December up to end Jan, we also have like a traffic, and from there, we go quiet till again the May. But all year round, people can come, but we get many during that high season.
And the whole time we've been talking about these adventures and what to do, what to see, but we have to eat when we're there, right? So can you talk to us a little bit about what we can expect out of food from Rwanda?
Well, we have restaurants and hotels which do like the international cuisine. We also have some restaurant which does the local food. I mean, if you want to do like local and African food, we have some restaurants which are good at that. And we have varieties. I mean, you can find Chinese restaurants here. You can find Indian restaurants here. You can find Korean restaurants here. You can find we have varieties. So in terms of dishes and food, we have varieties.
And is there a traditional dish that we should try? Something that's from Rwanda?
Well, yes, you can. Like most of people here, they love like there's a way we cook like most of us here in Rwanda, we eat like Irish potatoes. There's a way they cook it in a traditional way, and it's very tasty. And also most of us we have like cassava leaves. We eat them. We call it sombe, and it's a very nice popular dish here. They do it with also cassava bread, or sometimes maize flour bread. So that's those are the favorite most people do like. And also when you come to the western country nearby the Lake Kivu, we have like small fish we call that sambaza. So once you're there, it's a must. You need to taste that. It's very delicious. I mean, it's so nice there. So once you're here, you should also try that.
It's called sambasa, is that right?
Sambaza. Yes.
Nice.
And what are we going to be washing the sambaza down with? some beers, some wine, some local liquor.
So we have actually most people they love like we have banana beer. We call it urguagua.
Banana
So
beer.
that's
One more
banana
time.
beer.
What's the how do we
Urguagua.
say it? Ugwagwa?
Urguagua in yes.
Ugwagwa. Okay.
You're right.
All right.
So it's a famous famous beer. Like most internationals, they when they come here, they don't know like these international brands like of wines or beers. They just sometimes need to taste like the local touches, And when we come to local touch, that traditional banana beer is perfect. It's a very nice one.
Nice.
And also, but
Right.
also we have varieties. We have also local beers, and as well as like local wines. We have all those local stuff which are very good.
There's a local wine culture. I'm sold. I'm there. When
Yeah,
are we
yeah,
going, Chris?
Yeah, right. Only after we climb the volcanoes, Winfield, not during though.
First things first, listeners.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But
Well, it does sound like there's plenty of accommodation as well as creature comforts for those tourists coming in. A lot of Western culture, a lot of different cuisines. But the way Winfield and I like to travel is what you were describing towards the end there: local, local, local. So that's why we're asking more of the food that comes out of the Rwanda culture and history, more of the beverages, because we want to go to a place and truly experience how life is there. That's why it's
Sure.
Locales Unknown. We try to shed some light. The normal tourist path, you can pretty much find that anywhere with a little bit of flavor, sprinkled in here and there. But what you're describing, from the banana beer, the fish, the Irish potatoes, I had no idea about either. That's what we're into for sure.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So we're going to move into our signature lightning round now. We're going to ask you 10 questions. And are you ready for the challenge?
Very ready.
Okay, great. So one wish, what would it be?
Travel a lot with my family.
Oh, that's beautiful. We haven't heard that one yet either. That's great. That's very rewarding.
I'm not. I don't have family yet. I'm planning
Mhm.
to, but my wish will be, to travel a lot with my family. I mean,
Right.
I used to see, photos and videos of families like the husband, the wife, and the kids traveling to, to a quiet place. I was like, God, I need to do this. So that's my wish.
That's awesome.
That's very nice. Which country do you want to visit the most, and why?
Switzerland and Canada. Switzerland is the green country. I mean, I love the way it is green. I mean, green everywhere, like the rivers, the lakes. I mean, it's so beautiful. Like like a day can't pass without me seeing any photo, from that land. And also Canada, because they also have beautiful attractions like but mainly I love the British Columbia. That province has a lot of beautiful attraction, a lot of nature based tourism activities you can do there. So that's why I love those two. I have a lot, but those two are the main.
It sounds like the mountains are calling you, because Switzerland and British Columbia, both
Yeah.
with these peaks, the lush
Yeah.
greenery, the snow caps. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm so so passionate about that. I mean, hiking, adventure in the nature. Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely. So what's one place or thing that you still really want to do in Rwanda that you haven't experienced yet?
Like most. Oh God. So okay, I get it. So there's this new national park called Gishwati-Mukura National Park. So they've started, like, tourism activities were started last year in December, and with this COVID thing, I was not able to do that. But this coming Jan, I'll have to do it. So the reason why I want to do it is because it is a new park, a new tropical rainforest. So I love tropical rainforest because once I'm there, I know I'm connecting to the nature. So I miss that feeling, and I want to do it within that park.
Beautiful.
Very nice. And you kind of touched on a COVID there just a little bit. Won't go too far down that rabbit hole, but it sounds like things are turning in the right direction. Things are opening back up for you guys.
Yeah, actually, things have been well since this year starting. We've even the entire pandemic, we've managed it well, like in the country. And being the introduction with the vaccine, a lot of people here are vaccinated. But with this new Omicron thing, things have went back slow. But still, we are doing good in managing the pandemic. I mean, getting people in tourism vaccinated, for making sure that the park guides, tour guides, drivers. I mean, everyone in the chain, are vaccinated and we test regularly. So we've managed it well, and that's why maybe we are getting some people coming.
Very good. And what's the strangest thing you've eaten?
Oh God, what's that? Well, there was a time I was in Germany, and I ordered. It was a kind of spaghetti, and it was cooked in Italian way. Oh God, it was
Al dente.
terrible. I mean, I don't even remember its name, but it was terrible. I mean, I was like, why did I order this? And I was like, I have to test it as well. So that's the thing, yeah.
A little too crispy.
Nice.
Did a little bit longer in the water. So, what's your favorite thing about Rwanda?
Hard question. I have a lot of things, but the culture.
The
I mean, the
diversity
culture.
of culture, because there are a lot of cultures within the country.
No. We have only one.
Okay.
Actually, we even the whole country we speak only one language, so the culture is one.
Really?
So we don't have diversity. Yes, we only have one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So now you know, eh? So you come expecting to.
There's going to be a game on this show eventually. Who can stump Winfield? Because this man knows so much about everywhere. So you just stumped him, Eric. You win.
I know.
I've been outed. We've talked a little bit about this already, and this one doesn't have just one answer either. But what's the must-see attraction in Rwanda?
Well, that's mountain gorillas.
That I think that, as you said, that's the real sums up the country.
Yeah, sure.
What makes it famous. And in terms of what is one tip that you have for travelers?
Well, they have. What's that? So one tip is they have to come expecting to enjoy Rwanda. I mean, it is the safest country, so there is no any worries of being attacked by someone or it is safe. They should expect enjoying the country. And one tip is coming ready, expecting to enjoy the destination. I mean, that's what I can say as a tip. I don't know if it is meaningful but that's what I see as they just need to come ready. I mean, the the season. I mean, what should you bring? I mean, you bring like your equipment, bring the cameras as well. But if I can, maybe like it's a tip, maybe for those who are visiting the mountain gorillas, they should come expecting to see the magic unforgettable experience, and they should bring their cameras. And especially when you're visiting them, while taking pictures, you don't need to use like the flash camera. So you just switch off your flash and then you take photos without flash. And
Awesome.
also you have to keep the distance. Well, like before it was 7 meters, but due to COVID, they extended it to 10 meters. Yeah.
But that's a very important what you just said. Take a breath, stop, look around you, and take time to smell the roses. Don't have to be so on guard. Obviously, take precautions wherever you go, but just take in what's around you and
Sure.
absorb it.
You're right.
And what motivates you to travel?
Connection with nature and
Speaking
connection with
Chris's
also
language.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
I
mean, you
mean,
And
said
mine too.
that's my motivation, man. Connecting with nature and connecting with people you find.
you were talking about
100%.
wanting to go to Switzerland and Canada. That's the mountains right there. Then you were talking about your connection to the rainforest, and then all of nature within the gorilla sanctuary and the big five cats or animals down in the southern part of the country. I mean,
Akagera.
all of that, yeah, that speaks to me, man. You're talking about tapping into nature, and that's beautiful.
And we talked about this a little bit during the episode, but which mode or modes of transportation would you recommend in Rwanda?
Well, we have most of tourists they use road transport, but have those high end who would like to use we have like the air transport. I mean, like helicopters. They fly from Kigali to volcanoes. From volcanoes, they fly back to Nyungwe. From Nyungwe, they fly back to Akagera, then to Kigali. So that's a possibility. But also have those who do like the biking, but it's tiresome. I mean, if you don't have a lot of time, but you can mix and say maybe if you're going to Musanze, you go there by car, and then once you get there, you can like have like 2 hours of biking, seeing around the we have what we call like the twin lakes. You can bike around that belt, and then you see all the volcanoes as well. So most of the mode of transport we use is road transport.
But it sounds like there's some other options. I didn't even think about helicopters. That sounds
Well,
amazing as well in its own right.
well, the option have like the road transport is the most and the popular one, and the other one have is the air transport with the private helicopters that are also possible. Yeah, and that's the main because I mean the entire country can be linked through the roads. So we don't have like where we are separated by water and they will need like maybe the water transport. No, we don't have that.
Okay. And final question, if there is one experience that you could relive in your life, what would it be?
Visiting the mountain gorillas. I mean, every time I do that, it's it's breathtaking. I mean, it's so nice. So like every time I wish I could relive that because you spend with them 1 hour, but like 1 hour feels like 10 minutes because by the time the guy told you, guys, the time is up, we need to to go back. I was like, but that's really 1 hour. So that's the most experience I wish to relive every single day.
That's a great way to end. We've talked about it all: nature, cities, culture. We can't thank you enough, Eric, for coming on and shedding light on Rwanda. I know we have both learned a lot. I have learned quite a bit, and we are looking forward to seeing you very soon in country. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to to welcoming you to Rwanda, and thank you very much for this podcast was a nice one to showcase what we have to offer as Rwanda as a country as a destination, and I'm looking forward to see you guys in Rwanda. I'm also looking forward to see most and many of your followers to Rwanda, and for any question please they can reach out to me on my Instagram page. Maybe you will link it to the podcast. It's
Of
Eric
course.
Sabi, yeah, or email, or I'll also give you my email. It is Eric Sabi, Eric with K, sabi20@gmail.com, or even share with you my telephone number. I don't know if you can say it here or if I will.
Sure. Yeah, you can.
Okay, it is +250-788-363208.
Perfect. Yeah, because I was going to ask you,
Yep.
how do people find you? So appreciate that. We're going to include your social media, your email, and your phone within the show notes when this episode does come out. Anyone who's interested in learning more, definitely reach out to Eric. He's the one with all the knowledge. And Winfield was saying it right. One day we will see you in Rwanda and we'll be able to go on these adventures together, Eric. Really appreciate your time.
I'm looking forward to welcoming you.
Thank you, man. Enjoy
Thanks
the rest
again.
of your evening and happy holidays.
Thank you
care.
very much. Happy holidays too. Bye. Take care. Bye.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
So without further ado, we're back with another fun fact. Rwanda actually hosts a car-free day monthly. So for everybody looking to get their exercise and a little bit more activity outdoors, this is for you.
Well, there you have it. Another fun fact about a locale unknown. Thank you, Winfield, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode with us. We started this podcast in the hopes of shedding some light on the various destinations out there in the world that might be more off the beaten path. And we're hoping we're accomplishing that goal by bringing on our friends and our various guests to give us some insight about their various locations and what to do in the areas. So if you like what you hear, make sure that you follow us on all the podcast platforms as well as the social media platforms out there, because we're back every single week. I wouldn't want you to miss what we have coming up. We already have a couple great guests in the pipeline that we are very excited for, and I think you guys will be too. So we are on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on Google Podcasts, we're on all the other platforms. Locales Unknown. Go ahead and hit the search. When you find us, be sure to hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you're an Apple Podcast user out there, please let us know how we're doing. We're building this for you guys. So scroll down to the bottom of Apple Podcasts and go ahead and leave us a review and maybe some comments there. Also on social media, we are very active on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. We have our YouTube channel, so feel free to go ahead and drop us a line. We have our website, localesunknown.com. You can find all of our episodes there. And if you want to reach us directly, we have our email address, contact@localesunknown.com. Maybe you have some suggestions for us. Maybe you want to introduce us to someone that you think might be a great fit for the show. We are all ears. So once again, thank you so much for listening. We'll be right back here next week with another great episode somewhere out there in the world. Stay tuned.